Headline over at Bounding into Comics. Man arrested after multiple threats made towards Evangelion studio Khara. We're going to take a look at this write-up and a few others in this video. But before we do, let me talk about how strange this timing is, because it is impeccably strange. You might remember, if you've been watching videos on this channel the last few days, one of the My Hero Academia videos I did, where I was showcasing a thread on Twitter where people were insulting Horikoshi and Studio Bones and making claims of threats that they were going to do certain things to them. One poster that I covered in that video and on Twitter made a tweet saying basically, hunt them down, and posted the location of Studio Bones, their address, highlighting it. It was extremely distasteful. And I mentioned how, especially, it's a bad thing to do just alone. That's a very bad thing to do. But especially in this industry, so soon after the Kyoto Ani fire and how devastating that was. It was such a distasteful joke. Now, let me mention, the person who made that post has since apologized, and I gotta give them a shout out for that, because if you guys have been following this story, you will remember that after I made that video, there was a giant witch hunt against me. One tweet getting like 10,000 likes. These people tried to false flag my video. They massively downvoted it. They started lying about me. All sort of nonsense. Instead of being like those scumbags, this person acknowledged that what they did was wrong. They did not double down on it, and they apologized. And I'm going to show you that in a moment. But why I'm bringing it up now is because take a look at this story. You can see this sort of stuff is no joking matter. This is very serious. We have a man arrested now for a pretty similar thing. Although, to be fair, the person on Twitter, maybe they were making a joke. I don't know. The guy in this story, it's a little bit more complicated. So let's start there, and I'll show you what that's all about. So they say, a man was arrested this week after making repeated threats on social media towards Studio Khara, the anime production studio behind the rebuild of Evangelion series of movies. According to ANN, the 35-year-old unemployed suspect had made a series of threatening between July 7th and July 18th. That's how it's literally spelt out in the article. That included threats of Minecrafting everyone there and references to the fire at Kyoto Animation earlier this year. So let me clarify again. This is quite vastly different than the person on Twitter. While the Twitter thing was distasteful, and again, he has since apologized, this person took this way further than that person did. Multiple threats allegedly being made here, and even referencing Kyo Ani. So very scummy. It says the suspect, who admitted to charges of threatening and interfering with work duties, said he, quote, did it knowing that the other party, Khara, was scared. The suspect claimed that C's anime copyrights belonged to his family, and that he became angry after his email regarding the subject did not receive a reply. So, as you can see, again, pretty different scenarios here. But this actually does remind me of the Kyo Ani story, because didn't, if I recall, the Kyo Ani criminal, disgusting person who did that stuff, was alleging that Studio Ani was infringing on his IP or something, or that they stole from him. There was like some weird claim there, I remember. So it's interesting that the suspect in this story claimed that C's anime copyrights belonged to his family, and that he became angry after his email regarding the subject did not receive a reply. Word of advice for any of you out there who might be having your IP infringed on, making threats is not a good idea of going about it. You probably want to seek legal recourse, right? That's probably a better approach. The article then finishes off by saying the Kyoto Animation arson was similarly started by a man seeking to take revenge against an animation studio for being wrong. There you go. Yeah, I remember something like that. In the case of Kyo Ani, the suspect believed his work had been plagiarized by the studio. That's right. Studio Khara is currently working on Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0, which is set for a June 2020 release in Japan. Now, let me show you the apology from the Twitter user I was mentioning. He asked me to showcase this on Twitter. I'm also going to showcase it here because I want to clear the guy's name. So, hopping over to Twitter now really quick, and then we're going to take a look at a few more write-ups on the story. Here's my response. So, the user writes, I saw your tweet featured the tweet I'm talking about. I deleted it, and I'd like you to retweet my apology. I don't wish any harm on the Studio Bones, and I regret making any sort of offensive joke at the time. He even took it a bit further, though. He, let's see, I think I have it here. Yes. So he says, I want to apologize to the Twitter Boku no Hero Academia fandom. I made a tweet that was offensive to the studio by saying hunt them down with their address highlighted during the controversy. I was not thinking when I wrote that and didn't think about KyoAni. I'm sorry for offending anyone. And then there's the tweet that I just read. He further elaborates on this in the comments a bit. Says, I'll be more mindful of what I say in the future, but I also just feel really bad for making that post and then finding out about the threats to the author, the Minecrafting threats. It's terrible that people wish such upon another person for a work of fiction. Personally, I'm always, guys, to be completely honest, whenever someone makes an apology after they get backlash, I'm always skeptical of it, right? As anyone would be. Are you sincere in it? It's going to be up to you guys to decide. Do you think that this person is sincere in their apology? I personally do, to be honest, because on one hand, he could have just joined in the massive witch hunt against me, which, to be fair, it was, that witch hunt got completely destroyed because those people have no credibility and they realized what they were doing probably borderline illegal. It's certainly morally wrong, and it's even breaching the TOS of the platform that they're on too. I mean, literally in the TOS, don't start witch hunts. So there's multiple things going on there that this person could have been in trouble with. But the point is, this Twitter user didn't join in with that, with the 10,000 other people that tried to take part. He acknowledged the mistake even when I was getting witch hunted before those people got wrecked. So I think he's sincere, man. He didn't jump in when he had the chance. He's made an apology. He's made efforts to look into it more. Like, not only did he apologize, but he looked into the nonsense that Studio Bones and Horikoshi have had to deal with. He's looked into that. I personally think he's sincere in his apology, but make of it what you will. So let's move on to a few other articles now. Just for transparency, let's see if they're any different than the Bounding in the Comics article here. So now we're on SG Cafe. See what they write. The arson fire in KyoAni Studio 1 building. Oh my gosh. Well, that's horrible. I don't want to read that again. It's very sad what happened there. I guess they start off with that, so it's already a bit different. And let's move into this news. A 35-year-old unemployed man from Okayama allegedly posted threats to anime studio Khara via various social media outlets. And like the others who sent threats to other studios, he also referenced the arson attack on KyoAni in his threats. However, police have already arrested him, and he has admitted to the charges. He said that he did the deed knowing that Studio Khara was scared of his threats. Of course they're scared, man. Like, why wouldn't they be? You're sounding like a lunatic threatening to do terrible things to them all. Khara reported the post to the police after a series of posts last July, some of which have been sent before the KyoAni fire. Oh, wow. The man was apparently posting slanderous comments, and he is also claiming that the studio's anime rights belong to his family. He apparently got angry after the studio did not reply to his emails. The arrest comes as the studio is busy working on the upcoming Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0, which will open in Japan on June 2020. Then goes to mention the KyoAni fire. Says that some people have been emboldened by such. I don't really want to read the KyoAni stuff. I mean, we've already covered that a lot, and it's tragic. It's very sad. It's just, man, when we cover topics like this every day, you got to preserve your mental health, like, so don't get the wrong idea. I absolutely feel for KyoAni. I've talked about it a lot on this channel. But, I know everyone's got stuff they got to deal with in life, and I don't want to come here giving you like depressing news on top of depressing news and all that jazz. Let's take a look at one more website. This was already a little bit different than Bounding into Comics, and we have one more. This is from the DEAD Tunes. Got to be a little careful with that there. So it says, police arrested a 35-year-old unemployed man in Okayama after he allegedly posted threats to anime studio Khara on Twitter and different social media providers. In accordance with the PD, the person admitted to the costs of threatening and interfering with work duties, and he stated he did it realizing that the opposite occasion was scared. Interesting quote. The suspects allegedly posted threats to Khara between July 7th and July 18th. The person's post included Minecrafting threats. The person allegedly been posting slanderous feedback. Okay, this one's, the spelling's a little bit weird in this write-up. The person had allegedly been posting slanderous feedback about Khara on social media for 3 years previous to their arrest. So, interesting how every article kind of gave us some new information in a way. Says he thought that Khara anime copyrights belonged to his household. Well, the other article said it was anime, what was it, C or something like that? And he acknowledged that he bought offended after not receiving an email. Yeah, a lot of spelling errors in this one. I'm just going to move on. It provided a little bit of new information, but you know, some of this is a little bit odd. With that said, though, I guess we'll start wrapping this video up. I don't have too much more to say in this one. I hope you enjoyed the video. Kind of a rough topic, I know. But hopefully, if anything, seeing that one user on Twitter apologize for the previous tweet, that's a showing of good faith for humanity right there. You know, people meme like no faith left in humanity. Well, hopefully his post might give you a little more faith. Good on him. And that's all I got for you guys today. More news coming up tomorrow. I'll see you then. Peace.